continuing with the fenders, let's work on this flat part here. And to do that, I think what we can do is grab this edge here. Let's Alt-click this edge. And maybe I will take away this point. And if I go to wireframe, let's take a look at this. Yeah, maybe I'll take away this point as well. So we've basically got that bottom edge of the fender selected, -2 points here. And then I'm going to press Shift-D and move them up just a bit. And I'll hit the S key and scale them out just a little bit like that. So now they're up kind of inside the fender there. And what I'm going to do is split this out, this edge, as its own object. So currently it's still a part of the fender object, but I want to split it out as its own. So I'm going to press the P key and choose to separate by selection. And now if I tab back into object mode, I can just select that one edge. There it is. And then tab back into edit mode, hit the A key, and there we go. Now we're back to where we began, but this is a separate object now. And then what let's do is just duplicate this, Shift-D, and bring it down. And now I'm going to use this for this area down here. So maybe I can hit the R key and turn it a bit, hit the S key and scale it down. So I'm just trying to get it kind of at the bottom of this red line here. So maybe something like this. And yeah, I am going to have to pull some points here. I'm just trying to get it as close to that edge as I can there. And now that it's there, let's go in and do a little point pulling here and get it in place. So I'll just hit the G key and begin moving these around to get them just to the bottom of that red line here. I think that's what we want. Maybe I'll move this one up a bit. So just getting these in place here. And I'll take this one and move it here, here, and this one I'll kind of move into here like this. All right. So now that we've got that in place, I'll hit the A key and that selects those two edges. And now all we have to do is just bridge edge loops. And to do that, we can come up here into the edges menu, and here's bridge edge loops here. Or to get to the edges menu out here, we can press Control E. And that'll bring up the edges menu, but if we want to bring up the vertex menu, we can press Control V. And if we want to bring up the faces menu, yes, that's just Control F. So let's press Control E, choose Bridge Edge Loops, and there we go. And because this edge was duplicated off of this edge, it had the exact number of vertices, and so we were able to bridge edge loops without a problem, because you need the same amount of vertices in each edge. All right, so now that we have that, let's go back to solid mode, and I'm just going to take this, and you can see as I move it around, you've got this Z fighting, this display error going on because both objects are in the exact same place, and we don't want that. We want to kind of move this in a bit like that. There we go. Now let's go back, wireframe, and let's extrude these out. I'm just going to hit the 2 key to go to edge mode and hit the E key, and let's extrude this out, and then I'll grab this vertex here, and then maybe grab these two again, hit E. Let's kind of bring these out like this. Now we're probably going to have to do a little bit of work to bring that in. Actually, that's not too bad. I'll just kind of grab this and pull it in a bit like that. So ultimately, we're going to give these two objects some thickness. We'll probably use the subdivision surface modifier. We'll have to apply the mirror. But for right now, I'm just trying to block these objects in and get them in place so we can see how they look. Let's go down here and go back to wireframe, tab into edit mode, and I'm going to select these 2 points, hit the E key and move down to here. And then let's do that again. Select these 2 points, hit the E key and move down to about here, like that. All right, let's go back to solid, see how we're doing. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Okay. So there we've got the front fender pretty much blocked in. All right, so now let's take a look at this fender back here. I'm going to go back to wireframe, and for this one, what I'm going to do is duplicate this and move it over here, turn it and see if we can get it kind of in place. So let's press Shift D and Y, and I'm just going to bring it over here. And then I'm going to hit the R key and spin it a bit. And let's see what we can get in here. So it looks like, I'll hit the G key again. It looks like the top of them kind of go like this right here. And let's see down in here. You know, we really need another view here. So let's go to Image Open, and let's look at the rear fender here. And maybe let's add one in here. Where's another rear fender that we can look at? Here we go. Here's the other side. All right, so it looks like that's pretty good. I think that's about as close as we're going to be able to get it like this. So what let's do is begin doing a little bit of adjusting to get it in shape. So down here, I think I'm going to take these faces here. I'll Alt-click between two of the faces and maybe delete these faces here. And then if I Alt-click these edges, let's see what we can do here. So maybe I will grab these and hit the G key 2 times to slide it along this existing edge. So it'll kind of be in place here. Something like that. And maybe move this one down. And this. And let's move this all the way down like this as well. And now we could take these and flatten them in the Z axis. And so if you press the S key and the Z key, you can scale in the Z axis, and you can see how that's kind of flattening these. But in addition, what you can do is just press the 0 key, and that will flatten them up completely, and then press Enter. So that's a neat trick there. Let's get this in place like that. And I'm not sure how far we need to pull these in. I feel like they need to be in a little bit more here. Like this, even though it's hard to see. So it looks to me like we could take these and kind of move them back like this. Take these and move them down around in here like this. I'll hit the R key, turn that a bit. All right, so we've got that. Let's take a look at it in solid view. Yeah, that doesn't look too bad, actually. I think what we need to do now is deal with this piece here. I will come in here and grab these points here. Maybe I'll make them a little bit more in line with what I want. I'm going to turn them and maybe just straighten that out a little bit here. Okay, so now I've got these. I'm going to grab these and I'm going to duplicate these as well. And it looks to me like there's a seam back here. So, and you can see here this kind of fits over this a bit. So let's just press Shift D and duplicate this and move this kind of above that just a little bit. And then let's separate this out with the P key and by selection, and now this edge is its own object. Now we should be able to tab into edit mode, hit the A key to select everything, hit E and begin extruding this out here. I'm going to hit E and then R, E, R here, E. So I just want to begin bringing these down like this. I'll hit the E key again and come in right to here. And then these, it looks like we could angle in just a bit. E, and then back out. E, and maybe to here. And then I'll bring this all the way out to here. And let's move these in a bit. Just point by point here. There we go. All right, so let's take a look at that. Z and solid. All right, that's looking pretty good. Let's bring this out just a bit right here because we do have a little bit of Z fighting right in here. Maybe like that. And then I'll right click and choose Shade Smooth. All right, so there we've got the back fender. Let's do the same thing that we did previously for these here. Let's go to wireframe and select that edge. And then let's press Shift D and move it. Well, we want to move it up into here now, don't we? So let's do that and then hit the S key and scale out just a bit. Kind of like this. And then let's go ahead and separate it into its own object with the P key and selection. Tab back into object mode and just choose that edge right there. tab back into edit mode, hit the A key, and then Shift D and duplicate, move it out and scale it down a bit. So we try and get it as close to this edge as we can, something like that. So I think that's pretty good. I do want to move these a bit, move these back a bit like this. And let's go through and try and move these into place a little bit better. I'll move this one and this one. All right, so let's hit the A key and then press Control E and bridge edge loops. All right, now let's take a look. Let's move it back in just a bit. Good. And now let's do it one more time over here. Select that edge. Maybe I'll deselect that one down here. Go to wireframe, Shift D, let's move it up a bit. Split it out into its own object. And back in edit mode, let's press Shift D and move this down to here. Something like this. And then let's begin moving these points to get them more in line. Here and here. There we go. Something like that. Let's hit the A key, Control E, bridge edge loops, and there we go. Now we can take this and move it in just a bit. I'll tab back into edit mode to do that. Something like this. And so there we go. That's the basic shape of the fenders. And as I said, we'll do more cleanup on this, but I just wanted to get these in before we moved on to other things.